First contact in the void. The asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter sparkled with ice crystals and reflected starlight. But Captain Maya Rodriguez wasn't admiring the view. Her eyes were fixed on the strange energy readings that had brought the Earth exploration vessel Horizon to this remote sector of space. "Analysis complete, Captain," announced Dr. James Chen, the ship's chief scientist. "The signal patterns are definitely artificial, but unlike anything in our database." He gestured at the holographic display, where complex waveforms danced in perfect synchronization. "Whatever's generating them, it's not random noise." Maya nodded, her dark eyes narrowing as she studied the pattern. After 15 years of deep space exploration, she learned to trust her instincts. Something about this felt different from their usual investigations of space anomalies. Location: concentrated in asteroid CLX 2947, Lieutenant Sarah Hammond reported from her navigation station. "It's one of the larger bodies in this cluster, roughly 20 kilometers in diameter." Maya was about to order a closer approach when a priority message flashed across her console. Her jaw tightened as she read it. "The Galactic Council is ordering us to withdraw immediately." Apparently, this sector was already investigated by 17 different species. They're claiming we're wasting resources on a confirmed dead zone. The bridge crew exchanged glances. They'd all seen this before. The older spacefaring civilizations often dismissed human curiosity as naive and inefficient. But something about this situation felt wrong. "Captain," Dr. Chen spoke up, his voice quiet but firm. "These energy patterns, they're organized in a way that suggests intelligence, and they're getting weaker." Maya made her decision. "Take us closer, Lieutenant. Prepare the deep scanning array." As they approached the asteroid, their sensors revealed something extraordinary. The entire rock was hollow, riddled with artificial tunnels and chambers. And inside, they detected faint life signs. Thousands of them. The beings they discovered were barely clinging to life. The Lumini, as they called themselves, were crystalline entities that existed in a state between organic and mineral life. Their civilization had retreated inside the asteroid centuries ago, when their sun began to die, surviving on stored energy and hoping someone would find them before their power ran out. "Why didn't anyone help you?" Maya asked their leader, a crystalline figure whose facets shimmered with weak purple light. "We were deemed too primitive," the thought voice of the Lumini leader echoed in their minds. "Our biology was too alien, our technology too different. The energy required to save us was deemed inefficient." Maya looked around at the vast chambers filled with dormant crystal beings, their light flickering like dying stars. The other species had seen the same thing and chosen to leave them to die. "Well," she said, straightening her uniform, "humanity has a different perspective on efficiency." She tapped her communicator. "Bridge, get me a direct line to Earth Command. And Dr. Chen, start thinking about how we can adapt our fusion generators to power a crystal-based life form." The Lumini leader's glow brightened slightly. "You would help us, despite the Council's warning." Maya smiled. "There's something you should know about humans. We have a long history of ignoring people who tell us something's impossible." As the Horizon's crew began their work, none of them could have predicted how this decision would reshape the balance of power in the galaxy. Because sometimes the most important discoveries aren't made by those with the most advanced technology, but by those who simply refuse to look away. The price of compassion. Earth Command's response arrived faster than Maya had expected. The holographic image of Admiral Chen flickered in her ready room, his expression grave. "You understand what you're asking, Captain." The Admiral's voice was steady, but Maya could hear the concern beneath it. "The Galactic Council has made their position clear. Any attempt to assist these crystal beings could result in severe trade sanctions against Earth." Maya stood before the projection, her posture straight but not rigid. "Sir, with respect, we've reviewed the Council's previous assessment. They didn't just abandon the Lumini. They deliberately ignored evidence of their sapience. She gestured to the data streaming across her desk display. Dr. Chen's analysis shows their crystalline structure isn't just a quirk of biology. It's an incredibly sophisticated fusion of organic and mineral life. Their entire civilization is built on principles we barely understand. The Admiral was quiet for a moment, studying the reports. And you're certain they're dying? Their power systems are failing, Maya confirmed. They've been running on stored energy for centuries. Without help, they have maybe 3 Earth months left. 17 species saw this same situation and chose to do nothing. Because saving them would require significant resources, Admiral Chen noted. Resources the Council believes would be better spent elsewhere. Maya felt her jaw tighten. Sir, when humanity first reached for the stars, we promised ourselves we'd be different, that we wouldn't repeat the mistakes of our past, ignoring those in need because helping them was inconvenient. The Admiral's hologram smiled slightly. You've already decided to help them, haven't you? The Horizon's fusion reactors can be modified to interface with their systems, Maya replied. Dr. Chen thinks we can stabilize their core energy network within a week. But we'll need more than that to save their entire civilization. Admiral Chen nodded slowly. The Council won't like this. They've grown comfortable with humanity being the quiet newcomers, following their rules, staying in our place. He paused, then straightened. Send me everything you have on their energy requirements. I'll speak to the other Earth colonies. If we're going to do this, we'll do it right. As the hologram faded, Maya turned to the viewport. The asteroid that housed the Lumini filled the view, its surface now dotted with the Horizon's survey beacons. Inside those rocky walls, thousands of crystalline beings waited, their light dimming by the day. Dr. Chen's voice came over the intercom. Captain, you should come to the lab. We've made a discovery about the Lumini's communication system. Well, you need to see this. In the ship's main laboratory, Dr. Chen stood before a containment field holding a small Lumini crystal. Watch this, he said, activating a standard universal translator. The crystal's purple glow shifted to a deep blue, and suddenly the air was filled with music, complex harmonies that made Maya's skin tingle. They don't just communicate with thoughts, Dr. Chen explained, his eyes bright with excitement. Their entire language is based on energy harmonics. What we've been hearing in our minds is just a crude translation. Their true communication is, he gestured at the crystal, which was now pulsing with rhythmic waves of color. This. It's beautiful, Maya whispered. Then something clicked. The other species. Their translators wouldn't have been calibrated for this kind of communication. They would have missed everything. Chen finished. The Lumini aren't primitive at all. They're just so different that no one bothered to really understand them. He adjusted some controls, and the crystal's song changed. They'd been trying to share their knowledge, but no one could hear it. Maya watched the dancing lights, remembering humanity's long history of dismissing things they didn't immediately understand. Well, she said finally, we can hear them now. And I think it's time we help them make some noise. Back on the bridge, Maya received another priority message from the Galactic Council. She read it twice, then allowed herself a small smile. They were about to discover that humanity's reputation for being stubborn wasn't just a stereotype. Lieutenant Hammond, she called out. Begin power transfer sequences. Dr. Chen, get your team ready. Let's show the galaxy what happens when someone actually stops to listen. Breaking the rules. The Galactic Council's flagship emerged from hyperspace like a meteor made of polished chrome, its massive form dwarfing the horizon. Maya watched it approach on the main view screen, conscious of the nervous energy radiating from her bridge crew. They're hailing us, Lieutenant Hammond reported, her fingers hovering over the communications array. Maya nodded. Let's hear what they have to say. The screen filled with the image of High Counselor Vextree. His iridescent scales shifting colors in what Maya had learned was a sign of barely contained anger. Captain Rodriguez, the alien's voice was carefully measured. You were ordered to cease all activities in this sector. With respect, Counselor, Maya replied. Earth Command has reviewed the situation and authorized our mission to assist the Lumini. Authorized. Vextree's scales flashed deep red. Your species has barely mastered interstellar travel. You do not have the authority to override Council decisions. Dr. Chen stepped forward, datapad in hand. Counselor, our research indicates the Lumini possess technological understanding far beyond what previous assessments suggested. Their crystalline communication system alone. We are aware of their abilities. Vextree interrupted. That is precisely why they were quarantined. A heavy silence fell over the bridge. Maya leaned forward in her chair. Quarantined, not abandoned. The counselor's expression shifted. The Lumini's biotechnology represents a potential threat to galactic stability. Their ability to merge organic and crystalline systems could disrupt established power structures. The Council determined that allowing their civilization to naturally expire was the most prudent course of action. Maya felt her hands grip the arms of her chair. You're letting them die because you're afraid of their technology. We are preserving order, Vextree corrected. Something your young species seems to have difficulty understanding. You have one standard day to withdraw or face sanctions. As the transmission ended, Maya turned to Dr. Chen. How close are we to implementing the power transfer? We've successfully connected our fusion reactors to their main energy grid, he reported. But there's a problem. The power transfer is stable, but it's not enough. Their systems are too complex for our technology to fully support. Maya stood, walking to the viewport where the asteroid's surface glittered with activated Lumini technology. What about their own technology? You said they understand things we don't. Chen's eyes widened. They're crystal matrices. They don't just store energy, they amplify it. If we could integrate their crystalline technology with our fusion systems, would it be enough to save them? In theory, yes, but it would mean giving them access to our reactor technology. The Council already wants them dead, Maya interrupted. What do we have to lose? The next 12 hours were a blur of activity. While the Galactic Council's flagship loomed overhead, the Horizon's crew worked alongside the Lumini, merging human and crystalline technologies in ways neither species had imagined possible. The breakthrough came at hour 11. The Lumini leader, now glowing with renewed energy, connected directly with the ship's power systems. The fusion reactor's output suddenly tripled, channeled and amplified through the crystalline network. It's working, Dr. Chen announced, watching in amazement as purple light spread through the asteroid's tunnels. Their entire civilization is reactivating. But their victory celebration was cut short by Lieutenant Hammond's urgent call. Captain, 3 more Council ships just dropped out of hyperspace. They're charging weapons. Maya watched the massive warships move into position around them. The Council was really willing to destroy them to keep the Lumini's technology contained. She opened a channel to Earth Command, knowing there wouldn't be time for reinforcements to arrive. Then she felt it, a slight vibration through the deck plates, accompanied by a musical tone that seemed to come from everywhere at once. The Lumini leader's voice echoed in her mind, stronger than ever before. Captain Rodriguez, the crystalline being's thought voice rang with new authority. Perhaps it is time we showed the Council exactly why they feared us so much. Around them, the asteroid began to change. The hidden truth. The asteroid shimmered like a mirage in space, its rocky surface dissolving to reveal a crystalline structure beneath. Purple light pulsed through geometric patterns that spread across its surface, and Maya realized with astonishment that the entire asteroid was transforming. Incredible, Dr. Chen breathed, his instruments struggling to keep up with the readings. The whole thing is one massive crystal matrix. The asteroid was just camouflage. The Lumini leader's form had changed too, growing taller and more intricate, facets of light dancing across its surface. For millennia, we have hidden our true nature. Its thought voice resonated through the bridge, not out of fear, but of necessity. We needed to find others who would see us as equals, not as weapons or tools. On the view screen, the Council ships held position, their weapons still charged. High Counselor Vextree's voice crackled through the comm system, tension evident even through the translator. "Stand down immediately. This display of power only proves the Council's judgment was correct." "No." Maya stepped forward, understanding flowing through her like an electric current. "It proves you were afraid, not of their technology, but of what it represents." She turned to face the Lumini leader. "You could have defended yourselves all along, couldn't you? You chose not to." The crystalline being's light pulsed in what Maya had learned was their equivalent of a smile. "Violence is easy, Captain Rodriguez. Finding those who choose cooperation over fear, that is the true challenge. Your species passed a test that 300 others failed." The transformed asteroid now gleamed like a star, its surface a masterwork of crystalline architecture. Energy readings were off the charts, but they weren't weapon signatures. They were something else entirely. "Captain." Lieutenant Hammond's voice was filled with awe. "I'm detecting quantum field fluctuations. They're creating a stable wormhole." Dr. Chen's console erupted with data. Not just one. Hundreds of them. Micro wormholes, connecting every part of their structure. The energy efficiency is beyond anything we've ever seen. The Lumini leader gestured, and a holographic display appeared in the center of the bridge, showing a network of light stretching across the galaxy. "This is who we are, Captain. We are the architects. Long ago, we built the quantum highways that all species now use for faster-than-light travel. We seeded the galaxy with our crystals, creating the very network that allows civilization to exist." Maya stared at the display, pieces falling into place. "The Council, they discovered this. They found enough to fear us," the leader confirmed. "They saw our power and assumed we would use it as they would, to dominate, to control. So we withdrew, waiting for a species that would approach us not with fear or greed, but with compassion." On the view screen, more Council ships were arriving, forming a battle line. But Maya noticed something in their formation: hesitation. They had to realize that if the Lumini wanted to fight, this would already be over. "What happens now?" she asked. The Lumini leader's crystalline form resonated with colors Maya had never seen before. "Now, Captain, we offer humanity a partnership. Not because you saved us. We could have saved ourselves. But because when faced with a dying civilization, your first instinct was to help, even at great cost to yourselves. That is the kind of wisdom the galaxy needs." Suddenly, the horizon's systems surged with new energy. The holographic displays became sharper, the engines hummed with increased power, and Maya felt the ship itself becoming something more. "A gift," the leader explained. "A demonstration of what our species can achieve together. Your fusion technology, enhanced by our crystal matrices, will revolutionize human development. And in return, you will help us show the galaxy a better way." Maya looked at her crew, seeing the same mix of amazement and determination on their faces that she felt. Then she turned back to the Lumini leader. "I think Earth Command will be very interested in that partnership," she smiled. "And I have a feeling the Council is about to learn some new rules." The crystalline city ship pulsed with light, and Maya realized that this wasn't just a first contact or a rescue mission. This was the moment humanity proved that sometimes the most powerful choice isn't the obvious one. Sometimes, the greatest strength lies in simply being kind. Legacy of humanity. 3 months after the standoff at the asteroid, Maya stood in the newly constructed Earth Lumini Exchange Center on Mars, watching ships dock through the crystalline viewport. The massive structure sparkled with integrated human and Lumini technology, a physical testament to what their partnership had already achieved. Still hard to believe sometimes, isn't it? Dr. Chen approached, holding a datapad displaying the latest research results. The crystal embedded in his lab coat, a gift from the Lumini, pulsed softly in greeting. "That's an understatement," Maya replied, watching as a Lumini ship gracefully merged with a human vessel, their combined forms creating something entirely new. "How's the integration program going?" Better than we could have hoped. The Lumini's quantum communication network has already reduced lag time in interstellar communications by 300%. And that's just the beginning. He gestured to where a group of human scientists worked alongside crystalline forms, their movements synchronized as if in dance. Their way of seeing the universe, it's changing everything we thought we knew about physics. A familiar musical tone filled the air, and the Lumini High Chancellor materialized beside them, its crystalline form refracting the Martian sunlight into rainbow patterns across the floor. Captain Rodriguez, its thought voice carried warmth. The council representatives have arrived. Maya nodded, straightening her dress uniform. This would be the first official meeting between Earth, the Lumini, and the Galactic Council since the incident. As they walked to the conference chamber, she noticed how the other species they passed, council members and independents alike, watched them with a mixture of fear and fascination. The conference room was a perfect blend of human and Lumini architecture, with crystalline walls that somehow made the space feel both intimate and vast. High Counselor Vextree was already there, along with representatives from 20 other species. Their expressions ranged from diplomatic neutrality to barely concealed anxiety. Honored representatives, the Lumini Chancellor began, its voice resonating through both air and mind. We are here to discuss the future. Vextree's scales shifted to a cautious blue-green. The Council has reconsidered its position regarding the Lumini civilization. In light of recent developments, we propose a new treaty. No, Maya said quietly, but firmly. Every head in the room turned toward her. We're not here to negotiate a treaty. We're here to demonstrate a different way of existing together. She stepped forward, activating the holographic display. The galaxy materialized above them, crisscrossed with shimmering lines of quantum pathways. The Lumini built the foundations that all our civilizations rely on, not to control us, but to connect us. Humanity didn't save them. They gave us a chance to prove that power and compassion aren't mutually exclusive. The Lumini Chancellor's light pulsed in agreement. For too long, the galaxy has operated on principles of fear and domination. Humanity showed us that true strength lies in the willingness to help others, even at great risk to oneself. A noble sentiment, one of the council members interjected, but the galaxy is more complex than. Then what? Maya challenged. Then helping those in need. Then looking past our differences to see potential. Then choosing to be kind when it would be easier to look away. She gestured to the hybrid ships visible through the window. Look what we've achieved in just 3 months of genuine cooperation. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. The Lumini's technology, combined with human innovation and compassion, was already transforming the galaxy. But more than that, it was transforming how species sought each other. We're not asking for permission, Maya continued. We're extending an invitation. The quantum highways don't belong to any one species. They're meant to connect us all. The only question is, are you ready to stop fearing that connection? One by one, she met the eyes of each council representative. Some looked away. Others stared back with growing understanding. The galaxy was changing, not through force or fear, but through the simple, revolutionary act of choosing to care. Later, as the delegates filed out to begin the complex process of restructuring galactic society, Dr. Chen approached Maya with a strange expression. Captain, remember when you said humans didn't save the Lumini? Yes. I've been analyzing the data from that first day. Their power systems, they weren't actually failing. They had enough energy to last another century at least. Maya smiled, watching the Lumini Chancellor interact with a group of fascinated xenoanthropologists. They needed saving, James, just not in the way we thought. Above them, the crystal ceiling pulsed with patterns of light that seemed to echo with possibility. Humanity had passed a test they hadn't known they were taking, and in doing so, they'd helped change the course of galactic history, not through superior technology or military might, but through the simple, profound choice to look at something alien and see not a threat, but a hand reaching out in hope. The end.